afternoon. Good afternoon from New York. And the topic today, the love of money and power are an addictive painkiller. And free trade needs fair trade. Vote for fair, vote blue. Three different things there. The love of money. We know that Jesus said the love of money is the root of all evil. Where does the love of money come from? It's symbolic need. It's comforting symbolic need. Love of money and power are comforting symbolic needs. Why would one need a painkiller? To need this symbolic comfort. Well, it comes, and there's no satiation. It comes from damaged faith and love. You have painkillers replacing real love. And not that love is pleasurable and good thing. But if you're out of touch with your real needs, then how are you going to fulfill them? And damaged faith and love means that you've learned helplessness around feeling and expressing those very real needs at one time because of trauma. You couldn't. It wasn't safe to do so. To try and feel those things while you're in the helplessness would raise your anxiety levels no end. And it could be very bad. So in the beginning, as the great Arthur Janoff talks about, this symbolizing it saves your life. So it's also a survival memory. The people craving power and money, they have a spiritually sick mind, because when you're blocking real need, or when you're living in the past too, it's the symbolic stuff is not a real thing. It's in the present. It's something that evolved in the past. And so you're symbolically living in the past. So the way to get out of the past is to feel and to unlearn that helplessness is to express and feel that original circumstance and needs that you experienced, that you could not fully experience to begin with. So that's where this love of money and power come into play. There are other ways in which symbolic need trumps basic human need and drives. We can go then to that on another occasion. It would raise a lot of hackles. Maybe we'll go there, and maybe that's appropriate for the channel. We'll decide that later. But yeah, it's you got to put love first. So I'm learning the helplessness. That's not really the direction. It happens automatically when enough perspectives of love begin to slowly disable, make ineffective the symbolic. When you get more and more in touch with those real feelings in the past that you couldn't express, boom. So this is not scratching your finger and making it go back. Well, I need to relive scratching my finger. These survival memories, this symbolic need, which produces addictive behavior, that's a problem. You see a lot of that in Trump and his followers. A lot of addiction to to symbolic power and greed. There's a lot of selfishness involved because when you're in pain, you can't help it. You're going to be a little bit more selfish, or that is self-concerned, whether you know it or not. But you're comforting yourself symbolically, which is a problem for you and other people and a source of social difficulty. What we're seeing over in Gaza is a firestorm of anger and fear built on top of a long history of damaged faith and love. And so there's not the people are helping the symptoms, but somebody needs to begin to help the cause. And, I guess we send an army of therapists if they're brave enough to go there. But the therapists can't do much until we bring down the war. I've really been offended recently when they said that on NPR they were saying that the issue of the protesters about the Gaza handling of Gaza was because they saw it inferred that Joe Biden was pro-war. I mean, that's the way it was framed. He's not pro-war. He's, trying to deal with a very difficult ally, a right-wing ally, I might say, our own version of nationalist Christianity thing that we're dealing with right now, which is insane. Various forms of Christianity came to this country to begin with. It wasn't just one form. There were several. And because of this punishment attitude in religion, all the religions that I've seen, just about, there's this, the punishing attitude just makes things worse in terms of damaged faith and love. So, and creates more trauma. So, when these folks came over here, they were killing each other. These good Christians, they were killing each other over whether you baptize the baby or not, whether you dunk people all the way under or just sprinkle them. You can't make this up. This is insane. My maternal grandfather, Tommy, said that when he was a kid, he would listen to two Christian groups argue into the night about whether you were baptized because you're looking toward salvation. You're headed that way, more or less. But that was the real point of your salvations when you got dunked. And the other group was arguing, no, it's because you were already saved, and that was such a thing to do. Arguing into the night. What kind of irrational supreme being were they trying to appease? But that's the problem with religion. Spirituality is not about religion. And a lot of the things that Jesus said were actually very spiritual things. That's the good part of that religion. And a lot of things that Buddha said were good part there. A lot of the things that Krishna said were not a good part. And some of the things that Muhammad said were good. But religious thing, the change or I'm going to beat you over the head sort of thing doesn't fix this kind of greed for power and money, and doesn't do that. You have to heal the person, and you don't blame them for it. That's what I'm saying. I would put Trump in a secure place where he can't do more bad deeds and overturn democracy. But I would work on healing his mind. There's hope for the guy. So, but that's be something that he might not like to do. Well, fine. Stay in prison. Stay in the prison. Kind of prison I'm talking about is where you're trying to heal the minds, and you don't let them go until they're well. Just like you don't expect that punishment's going to make them better people. Well, you scare the heck out of somebody, and they're good. The only time they're good is when they're scared. They're scared not to act in a good way. That's just an act. Spirituality isn't an act. It's what you're inclined to do. You want to expand the love flow, with greater virtues. Truth, goodness, and artfulness. You're trying to expand that. And ego transcendence, too, is part of that. Because if you're stuck in a self-concept, how are you going to change? You got to kind of realize that that is changeable, and that you weren't born with one. And that's part of the practices, and they're very useful practices, and three of the approaches in inner mind communication, and the forms of empathy that give us our social virtues. That's the other three. But now we're dealing with the first thing, the love of money and power. That these are addictive painkillers. Now let's go to free trade needs fair trade. I think that's a slam dunk, just saying it, but for those who need further explanation, consider that someone with a lot of wealth goes into a town, and here's a guy trying to make trade with his small business, and they go in and they got deep pockets. So they go in and they lower their prices lower than what the little guy can afford to compete with. And they keep doing that until it's gone. Then they raise their prices. You say, oh, that doesn't happen. Yes, it does. It happens. It's happened a lot. It's when with pharmacies, you see all these big chains of pharmacies. Where's the local pharmacy? So free trade. Well, where's your free trade when powerful people are able to own every corner that'll even be a corner or a hub or a good spot in 5 years? And they can always, have the money to move to the next spot where the 5 years is up. And, all the good spots are taken. How is that fair trade? And if it's not that, it's also not free trade, because the little guy can't afford to be a business person. How can afford it? The only place you can set your restaurant is next to a garbage dump. Good luck with that. So you need fair trade to have free trade. And that means you got to do something in government to even up the odds of it. Like fair taxation, making business opportunities more available for the little guy. And, it's just the fact that if you have roads and everything, or tax, If you have health care and it's taxpayer paid with fair taxes, then guess what? The little guys don't have to worry about their employees being sick and not showing up to work as much because their health is taken care of. They don't have to pay out loads of money for insurance if there's an accident. How about just no fault? And okay, there's a problem there, and maybe they need to make some changes, and law enforcement come in. You got to do something to improve your security or your safety job. That means government again. Thank you. And that's fair enough. But they won't have to pay these huge amounts for someone who slips and falls or fakes a slip and fall and wants to sue them. This works for doctors too, so the person's covered, their health is covered, that part. And with government doing inspections, making sure things are, safe on the job or up to snuff when it comes to expert assistance in medicine or in any other helpful field. Yeah, that evens up the odds. That helps the economy. And you have people, the immigration issue. Look at that. Look, the reason that our economy is doing as well as it is the people working up here who are undocumented, yes, working in the fields. Are they getting a fair trade? Not really. I mean, you look out and you see they're working and their kids are working. Well, what does that look like if you just snap a one-time picture? Cotton fields a long time ago. That's not, it's child labor. Aren't we past that? And then the people that want them to work, they wouldn't have breakfast without them, but they want to blame them for problems. The Republicans will say, they're crossing the border and you're paying for their health care and you're paying for. No, you're not. What they're doing is they're contributing to the economy. And we're an aging economy, and we need more kids. They're bringing kids. That's a good thing. So, who's going to take care of you when you're old if there are no young people to work? Hello. They're doing jobs that nobody else wants half the time, I mean, it's a win-win, okay? They come in across the border, and, we had a great border bill. Republicans said no. Why? Because they want a guy who wants to be a dictator to win the election. Really? The Republican Party seems really surprised that, the center ones, that Lincoln Project, oh, how did this happen? This is so bad, Says, well, when you're shoveling all the money to the wealthy, you're allowing them to have monopolies, legal monopolies, monopolistic sorts of things going on. You're allowing that, and not fair taxation of that huge amount of wealth. I mean, hello, that's not fair trade, and it's not free trade. If you're for fair and free trade, you got to vote blue. There's no choice, in this matter. And this thing with the immigration, back to the point here, they're helping, not hurting. The bill, back to that point, would have been really great to help stop drug trafficking. So many things. And it was a bipartisan bill. But the Congress is so nuts that they said no. So that their guy, Trump, would have a better chance to win the next election. I ask a question for current Republicans. Do you love your country, or Is it just about your party? Is it about winning the next election? Is that all that it is? Then you don't deserve the job. You know, whatever party you're in, you go in to serve the American people. You're not there to serve your party alone. You're just in that party because you have certain values. But you serve the American people. So, okay, if you want everything to improve, vote blue. You don't have a choice. I wish there were more choices, you know. I'm there with you. I wish there were, age limits for holding office. That's only fair. I mean, there's age limits on who's driving a car, too. I mean, there'll come a point where, I need to take bus. If I live long enough, probably, and maybe not. But, I should be tested to see. Maybe just do tests, because sometimes you get older and you're just wise, like Bill Biden, he's very wise, sharp enough, but test that out, Put them through a battery of tests. But age limits would still be a thing in general. And what the heck? Don't they want to retire at any time? There's ways to serve the country without being in office, You can go into business. You can do lots of things. So anyway, yeah. There probably should be age limits regardless of, unless a person, maybe that could be overruled if you assess the health and everything of the individual. But you've got two choices this time, like it or not. You didn't like Bernie, okay? You didn't like that, okay, fine. And most people didn't like the libertarians. So, you got two choices, that's it. So, all right. Which choice are you going to make? Time to vote. Next important election. Which side are you going to be on? Are you on the side of virtue and fair trade and true free trade? Or are you on the side of shoveling all the money to a few people and helping people that are maybe loving the power and the money too? Once they get that power and that money, then they try to buy your government. How is that a good thing? No one should have so much money that they can have that kind of influence. Certainly not and be anonymous. People should know when they're voting, where's the funding coming from? And it's not all black and white usually, and there's good on with different candidates, and bad. Like they say, Jesus, Buddha, and whoever, you see as a great virtuous example. Those people aren't running. They're not running for office. Moses and Muhammad and Jesus and Buddha and Krishna, these, if you think they're, better than spice on rice, then fine, but, they're not running. You've got two choices. Trump and his ilk, those who support a guy who's an election denier, with all the evidence pointing the other way. Nothing that was at the most. His own vice president recognized that was a fair election. Come on. Quit believing the lie. Quit loving somebody who's definitely out to con you. And how do you know when someone's trying to con you? Remember the firestorm that gets created with a lot of anger and a lot of fear? Drop that. That's why I say, I don't hate or hate. I don't think they should be leading the country. I think they should be in therapy. And those of you who don't need therapy need to organize now and make sure that you talk to your neighbors and get them, informed, sure that they're informed of the realities. At least discussing it humbly. I guess nobody likes a preacher, but you can start off with let's talk about this subject and let's cite our sources. Let's say, okay, let's make an argument one way or another, and then switch sides and do your best. Seek the truth and stop being impressed with who makes the best jokes against the other person. That's fun. Yeah, we all look like gorillas and monkeys. Of course, they're our cousins. So you call the other side gorillas or whatever. Fine. That can be really funny. I don't mind if you call me one. We all look like them, and I don't have a movie star face. I've got a big nose, big ears, more of a clown. So, but I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad that nature would tolerate somebody. Really nice. That's wonderful. And yeah, so just find your niche in the love flow and do the best you can with what you got. And there's a lot that I don't have, but what I do have, I like to work it. Use what I do have to improve things, and that's something we should all do. And everyone should vote, everybody, but make sure that your vote is informed, and that doesn't come from being in a bubble and only listening to one side. It means looking fairly at the claims. And it'd be almost ridiculous to believe that Trump's a good choice. That election, there were Republicans and Democrats counting the votes. Please. None of them reported that there was a problem. And most of the times when I have seen this in primary elections and so on, they use a lot of time. They have the vote. The voting is watched over by both sides, and these people are friendly to each other. In my experience, they were all friendly. It wasn't. We're going to do. Our point is to count this fairly, and a lot of them were friends. Different opinions. That's fine, but that election was very fair. Both Republicans and Democrats involved in counting those votes said, "No, we did a good job." And when it was all tested and done again and whatever, same result came out. Okay? Stop believing the lie. That election was not stolen. Stop believing that Trump is a strong man. He's not. Bless his heart, as they say in the South. Bless his heart. He's morally weak. He's emotionally not strong at all. He creates harmful firestorms of anger and fear, which, when you're angry and you're afraid, you're not thinking. That's why I support so strongly the inner mind communication techniques we talk about sometimes. Separate your feelings from your thinking. Your little 6-year-old grown up. Get them separated and talking to one another, right? Your feelings are not facts. You come to facts by being an adult and objective. And you help the kid in you by communicating in a caring way, getting you feel. That's where you're talking to anybody, you get the core of everybody's this dramatic self, the more emotional kid. Realize that when you're talking to somebody, try to be kind. Try to be kind. Because, a lot of times the people have really bizarre kinds of beliefs and things because they're hurting. And maybe some cannot be reached. So when you're organize with people who be able to put family lives, reach out to them, get them organized so that they're voting. They want to defeat MAGA and Trump. I want to do it. We're going to bring soon, I hope, a friend of mine who's a professional organizer, but instruction how to do that. We're going to be bringing you regular folks. Sometimes we don't have the voice we need. We'd like to have this channel be a voice. We're going to have a more conversational kind of approach. You could be one of the stars. You can send to the party. Send your Uber video. And our team will take a look and maybe this channel you will find your video. So this is about serving the American people. Eventually we're going to need money to move forward and give you more voice. Yeah, but we're not asking for it. And you want to subscribe with, that would help us and it doesn't cost you a ton. So it'd be really nice if you subscribed. So eventually maybe you'll be subscribing to yourself. And you can share the videos. Great. If you like the video, please, show that you like it so that we know and we can improve how we're doing. Make your comments. Trolling isn't something we're going to get into. You can make a great attack against any of our views, perhaps, by asking questions. That's a nice, polite way if you're disagreeing with someone is to ask some questions. They're not willing to answer. That shows. And if they do, then okay, ask more questions. And all right, so yeah, please help us out if you can. If you love this this country, and we love freedom. If you're, this is a channel for everybody. It's not just for the United States. It's for everybody around the world who believes in democracy. Because we're all one family. One family. So whatever country you're in, whatever you are, welcome. Because the same principles that support the Democratic Party here in this country are the same principles that support democracy in any country. So bring in your views, your perspectives, and let's increase the betterment of the internet. More and more serious, caring voices. More and more of those. That's how we should approach everything in life. When you see somebody else, see the kid in there, see the wonder that they are. You make a human being. Well, kind of. You're not. Maybe one day we can, But still, every human being is a wonder walking. The wonderment and the beauty of their existence is amazing. From the view and the visionary view of the artist in you, above your time, above the fray, above the storms of anger and fear, there's a vision of love that you can tap, through which you can see the world. That's why the inner communication, your inner politics and your outer politics, they help each other. There's no problem, no conflict. And that's the uniqueness of this particular channel, is that we are tying together activism for a greater love flow with inner practices that you can do to help yourself, help others to do, and activism, where we are politically active to help our societies. It's like I like to say at the end of my presentations, I love the word namaste, because it means that everybody, it's an honoring, it's a kind of greeting and a goodbye that's honors the amazing heart of the giver and of the receiver. We're all part of this same universe, this same world. We are the universe knowing itself. The wonder and the greatness of that is something that exists in every person. The potential for a greater love flow exists in all of us. So when you say namaste, you're honoring that in the other person, and you're coming from that same place, knowing that what you give, you receive, and what you receive ends up being a gift. And that's the love flow. So I'll give a final namaste after I sing a song from my heart that I think is based on an old diary. Do that at the end of my videos for now until later. Maybe we won't do that, but here goes. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. Rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Or her hand, or its hand. So, namaste. Make a great day today. Namaste.